What's going on, folks? How you doing? Welcome to a live edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I am your host, Lee Black. Welcome to our Wednesday show. And so we're going to get things popped off right from the outset by bringing in the co-host and see what's what. What's going on, McMac? How you doing?
I'm tired. I'm tired.
What's new? What else is new? Look, we in the dog
Oh,
days of summer, but it's a interesting time of year. So, like you, it's a lot going on. I do see we got the super fam. It's Carol, grown
oh,
woman. Don't try
yeah.
me. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Uh, Popping in. Charles, what's going on, my brother? Long time no see. Good to have you popping in, checking us out. And so we're getting the hellos out of the way. Brother from another mother, Mr. Kendrick Sports Hustle, doing his thing as well. And everybody saying hello, hello. So
Wow.
yeah, so appreciate you popping in. And we're gonna pop this thing off here. We'll literally give about 2 minutes to see if we got anybody to join. And if not, Tasha and I, we're gonna get this conversation going because, like Tasha, we want to end on time tonight. This is the middle of a work week, but also this is tonight's the NBA Finals game, which I want to catch. But it's just been a long week, long day, and I'm sure everybody got other things to do. So we'll kind of get things popping, and we'll see what's going on. I think Charles already said hello, so we want to make sure we get those in there. In case you don't know what we're talking about, before we go there, I would just do want to make sure that I give a little bit of pub to the show itself. Real Talk for Real Men. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook under that specific title, Real Talk for Real Men. And yes, we are still accepting subscriptions. We're so far away from being monetized, but if you like our content, it's still a great way to be able to get notifications when we do go live. And I also want to say right at the top this time, in case you don't know, Tasha and I are going to be going on a full hiatus at the end of the month, so there won't be any live shows happening in July. There's just so much going on that we're going to take some time off to refresh, regenerate, and just kind of get our wheels back underneath us and come back after the summer. See, we even got Terrence Cuzzo from New York. What's
Yeah.
going on? Good to see you, Terrence. So, as promised, I wanted to do a part two to last Wednesday's show because as we were getting into the meat of it, we kind of as we always do, we found ourselves kind of just kind of getting off track, going down rabbit holes. So we were talking about dating tips to finding the right person, and tonight we're going to kind of go into some myths of what might be holding individuals back. In particular, I kind of read that rabbit holes about me in particular, because unlike Tasha, I'm not looking, but of course I'm open. Tasha's not looking. She's completely focused on herself. And so for her, this is just not even remotely in the right timing. Am I summing that up, Tasha? I don't want to speak for you.
Yes, you are summing that up correctly. Yes.
Okay. So that's what I want to be sure. So I don't know if we're going to get any of the family members. My sis may not be on. Uh, there is we're having a somewhat of a tragic situation with friends, not with sister this time, but behind the scenes, a very dear friend of mine is probably on death watch tonight. So that's when I say there's a lot going on. I don't just
Mhm.
mean just work related things. So that's stuff going on in the background. My brother Kenny won't be here because he's working and posting. So I don't know if they're going to pop in. So Tasha, we're going to kind of bring it up to speed, and we're going to again just kind of talk about a few things. For those of you watching, please feel free to participate. We love it to hear your thoughts. But just as a refresher, we talked about initially how when you think about finding the right person, that I'm gonna speak for myself. I used to feel like I didn't have baggage, but I'm of the mindset now that as I've gotten older, I hope wiser, but certainly more experienced. I think everybody brings a certain amount of baggage. Tasha, do you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now the question that I have before I kind of move on from that, is that necessarily always a bad thing when somebody says, "Well, I have baggage"?
It's unrealistic to think that adults don't have baggage, whether it be physical or emotional. So,
Oh,
and we all will classify it differently too, because we all rank it depending on like who we are, the person is, the level of attraction to that person is what you'd be willing to deal with. So,
absolutely. Very, very well said. And that's where, for me, I have grown exponentially because when I was younger and I thought I had it going on, oh, I don't have any baggage because, this, that, and the other. And the reality is, it's how you measure it. And
mhm,
at this stage of our lives, to being this age, everybody brings a unique set of experiences, good and bad. Um, and those things have shaped us into who we are, what we're looking for, and all of those things. And so I agree with you, Brother Kenny. He said depends on what type of baggage. And so I agree 1,000% because you then it's the onus on you to determine how do you measure that baggage and what works for you you know.
mhm,
And even last week, we went down some rabbit holes where we were talking and we had gotten into some of the questions that, that Tasha and I have in conversations that we talk about all the time. Who's more responsible for telling somebody what? And how much responsibility does that place on the individual, knowing the feelings can change within the context of that relationship. So to your point, Kenny, yeah, different baggage for different people. I know what I like, what I find attractive. I know what I'm willing to take. I know what completes me at this stage, and I hope that person knows the same thing. So that's definitely the case right there. Then we kind of jumped into talking about reassessing and misconceptions about dating and relationships. And that's where we went down a true rabbit hole where we got into all kinds of things that go into, what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy. And we went down those rabbit holes for sure. Miss Carol is saying hello to Terrence, hello to Kenny. And so that brings us to just getting into some of the myths. This is where now we're going to start to get into actual myths that when it comes to finding the right person, we're going to look at some common myths about dating and when it comes to looking for love. And Tasha, I know you're not looking, but I definitely want to
mhm.
get your input as we just examine these myths. And even from the perspective of whether you're looking or not, but in terms of whether it makes the relationship healthy. Would that be okay?
Yes.
All right, all right. So, all right. So let's jump into this first myth and just kind of examine them. And being this you and I, Tasha, this very first myth is simply put, I can only be happy and fulfilled if I'm in a relationship, or it's better to have a bad relationship than no relationship. I can only be happy and fulfilled if I'm in a relationship. How often do you find, McMack, that people feel that this is the case and maybe this is one of the obstacles from finding the right person when you look at this myth right here?
Yeah, both of those are both heavy. You do hear about it. And honestly, the beginning when I can only be happy and fulfilled if I'm in a relationship, I don't even know if that's even true though. Like the people that I do see that are in those relationships because for whatever reason they're just unable, or they don't want to be by themselves, they don't even seem happy in the relationship. They just seem there. But I guess it's a relationship. It doesn't specify a happy relationship. It just specifies a relationship. So having that whole saying, having a happy man is better than no man. No, it's not. No, it's not. Have a relationship with yourself, okay?
I'm glad you said that. And being that both you and I are both single, how often does it happen to you when you find yourself in a situation where once people find out you're single, they make an assumption that you probably are not fulfilled or happy, or they think if you had somebody, you would be so much happier if you. So does that happen to you? I know for a man of my age, even in a professional setting, once people find out that, oh, you're divorced or you're single, you almost get a sense of, I bet he's not
Pity.
happy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Pity. You get looked at with pity. You get viewed with pity. People automatically make assumptions that you're lonely, that you're alone, that you don't have anything else. even for me as a woman, it's like when not just the relationship aspect of it, but when people find out that I don't have kids, like it's just sometimes they're so taken aback by it, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do? That doesn't. Please tell me where it's written, like all of this, like you have to be in a relationship. Please show me where. Please show me where and where it was said by anybody that you have to be in a relationship. You have to have these certain things in order to be happy and fulfilled.
Absolutely, I agree. Welcome to the show, sis. How you doing?
I'm good. I was trying to get on this pad, but it ain't letting me.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
So, to your point, Tasha, I want to throw a wrinkle in here, on this one right here about being happy and fulfilled. And again, the pity sometimes that goes along with being single, and in your case, being a woman without children. What do
Mhm.
you say to the segment of some people who feel like you're not fulfilling the scriptural duty of one, having a husband, and two, procreating and having a family?
It does not say that scripture. Let me just say this. Nowhere scripturally does it say you have to do those things. There were, if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 8 women in the Bible who were unable or did not have children, okay? And nowhere does it say in there that each one of them had to be married. I don't know. I think sometimes like people just get a little bit confused with their own personal and societal, pressure that's put on you. And it's like, like I, I don't understand why people can't just like walk like their own path, make their own way, and just do what they want to do. There is like some thought out there that, oh, you're just gonna grow old and alone. Okay, well maybe that's what I'm supposed to do this lifetime. Okay, shit, that's between me and God. Okay, maybe that's what this life is supposed to be about. So
Absolutely.
I think two people project their own insecurities because for them that is, I think too, that's like a big fear of theirs because they don't know how to be alone.
You went where I was gonna go. You went where I was gonna go. And Sherry, feel free to jump in here whenever you want. But I I brought that up because I think sometimes for those who are incorporated into the religious aspect of it, because it says Adam and Eve, and she was made as his helper, and this, that, and you believe the Genesis account. Now, of course, we know what happened, and this is whether you're a believer or not. And so, for that segment of people, they equate the first human couple with God's grand purpose that everybody has to be married, even though they forget that in that scenario, well, it went wrong. We didn't fully get to see what the whole purpose might have been. And then, of course, as we all the way down to our time, it may not be everybody's goal to be married or have children to feel a sense of fulfillment. And I often wonder, for some people who think that way, are they afraid of who they would be if they were single and be able to cope? So that's what I think of. Sister, do you want to
Mhm.
add anything to this verse, Smith, where it talks about I can only be happy and fulfilled if I'm in a relationship, or it's better to have a bad relationship than no relationship?
No, I don't. I think it's for the individual, because some people just don't want to be married and be in a relationship or have kids and nothing else. Shit, I
Okay.
wish I would have been in either one.
All right. Because it's just us three, I actually have time to read some context from the article I'm pulling from. So on this one, it says, while there are healthy benefits that come with being in a solid relationship, many people can be just as happy and fulfilled without being part of a couple. Despite the stigma in some social circles that accompanies being single, it's important not to enter a relationship just to fit in. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing, and nothing is as unhealthy and dispiriting as being in a bad relationship.
Can can I just say this
Sure.
too? even to that, that makes me think of this viral video that's going around. I want to say it's this guy who considers himself like a, I don't know, like relationship type of person, but
Okay.
his video is literally to women, and it says, "Women, what is your plan B if no man wants to marry you?" Oh fuck, that's my fucking plan A. Okay, what the fuck are you talking about? And I don't understand, like, where did we go wrong? And like, to where we are tying our happiness and fulfillment with our own lives, and where it depends upon like you being with someone. Where did that come from?
You know, uh, that antiquated way of thinking was just that was. I think we could go down that rabbit hole if we wanted to, but we could go back to slavery times and, maybe some of the customs that came out of that. And then it just became what we did. And I'm speaking specifically of African Americans in this instance. But even when you look at other I think sometimes the antiquated methods have been projected onto everybody. And we're just now coming out of that, maybe over the last 20 years or so, to where many people are finding that, you know what, I am happy about myself, and I don't want to be in a quote unquote relationship. And that last part where it talks about nothing being as unhealthy as in a bad relationship. So I know from my mom's era, that is something that they truly believe, that a half a man is better than no man at all. And this was a time when women didn't have a whole lot of power. They had no economic power at all because that era they didn't work. They were considered home care, take care of the children. And here we are now in 2024, where the roles have almost reversed. It's the women that are working multiple jobs. They're financially independent. They're educated, and so they certainly don't feel that way. That now, of course, you still have some people who are in bad relationships for whatever reasons. Hence the show. Dating tips to finding tips for the right person. That's the key, the right person.
Hmm.
So let's go on to myth number 2. If I don't feel an instant attraction to someone, it's not a relationship worth pursuing. I really, really like this one. What do you
That
think?
is what's wrong
I was
with
gonna
dating
so
now.
so that's what I want to say. What do you guys think about that? That for some people, in finding the right person, this is a barometer now. If I don't feel an instant attraction to someone, it's not a relationship worth pursuing. I want to hear y'all views as women.
It's
Well,
people. I think now, like, people only want to go so surface level, and they don't want, to go a little bit deeper, or if it requires a little bit more work, a little bit more effort being exerted. If it's not easy immediately, then it's like immediately like, okay, well, fuck it, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to deal with it. That person has too many, too many issues, too much trauma and things like that. Talk to them. You may find out that that could just be how that person is. We're all people. We're all individuals. So we all can look at a situation and all think of something totally different, take something away from it, view it differently. So, and people are so quick to just want to instantly just have this amazing relationship. It's gonna take work.
This one is so personal for me because I'm
I
a
can't hear
personalize it for
anything.
me. You can't hear anything, Tasha? Can you hear me?
I don't hear anything. Sherry, can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we hear
Wait, I
you.
can't hear Sherry. Okay, maybe it's my phone.
Yeah, we hear you.
Let me go out and go in.
Okay. Izakar, welcome to the show. Good to have you. Kenny says, while Tasha's pops back in, Kenny says, geez, that's a tough one, but I have to have some type of attraction initially. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Brother Kenny. Uh, make sure Tasha comes back in. Okay. McMack, can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Maybe it was my
Okay.
phone. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to read this comment, and Sherry, I'm coming to you, on this point. But first, I wanted to make sure you hear that we welcome Izakar. Kenny says, geez, that's a tough one, but I have to have some type of attraction initially. Sherry, what do you think about this myth that if I don't feel an instant attraction to someone, it's not a relationship worth pursuing?
I don't think that's the case because, I mean, I always like to become friends first with a person, and yeah, eventually, sometimes it's a situation where you might come to become to be attracted to the person of how they act, treat you, different things, different situations. But it's good to be friends first. That's why I'm making wait a good long time, time
Okay.
because you might not get to know the person, when people just instantly jump into a relationship. No, I don't think
So
that.
so I think this is truly one of the reasons why that's an obstacle and barrier for me finding the right person, because I think we've lost the art of getting to know someone. We don't have
Mhm.
conversations anymore. We treat relationships, they're under the microwave bubble of social media, and certainly the initial attraction, I think, plays a major part in it. And Izakar says, Sherry, she agrees with you. And I
Mhm.
wanted to go to Kenny's point. I agree. Look, let's not kid ourselves. As a man, I'm my eyes know what it's attracted to. I famously talked about a big ass, this, that, and the other, so that's without a doubt. I'm not talking about not having any attraction, but
Mhm.
the key here is that feeling instant attraction and whether it's pursuing the person. Because the reason why what I'm drawing there is that as many people as I've been with, I can look back and say the relationships I've been in, I wasn't necessarily instantly attracted to the person. That's the funny part. Literally, my wife, I had met her a, a couple of years before we got married. I didn't pay any attention to her. I was in other relationships, the relationships I was in, a couple of them I didn't even necessarily like initially. Initially, I didn't even like them. It was something else that drew us together, and over time I realized, man, maybe I need to take a second look at this person. And
Mhm.
I think for me, even when I look at that one, I think that hurts a lot of people finding the right person, because I think about what I do for a living now. Tasha will be able to relate to this. I work from home. I have no reason to dress up whatsoever. None.
Reach.
None. There was a time when I worked in an office where I had to wear office attire. And what's crazy is if we go back, and I'm talking about just 5 years ago, what office attire was then is not even office attire now.
Mhm.
There was a time, believe it or not, where men walking in an office were required to wear a dress shirt, and in some cases, a tie. You certainly had to have on dress pants. Here we are now in 2024. That's not even office attire anymore. Nobody wears ties. I literally have 200 ties that, unless that cycle comes back around, I have zero use for. And if I even worked in an office right now, they would not, I would look out of place showing up in an actual dress shirt that you have to iron. They don't dress that way. But to my point now, Tasha can attest to this. When I go out and run errands to the store, this, that, and the other, you see what I have on? I'm likely in something like this: sweats and a shirt. Sometimes I wear a collared shirt. And so if this one is true, and I think this is where a lot of it falls on, that if that person don't feel an instant attraction, then oh, he ain't work. Because if you see me out just in initially as a black man, I'm overweight. I'm not dressed to the nines. I don't have on any fashionable clothes of what's considered fashionable now. And so I am dismissed in many cases. And that's sad because, man, I think people in general are losing out on that initial attraction part that you said, Kenny. It's okay to, yeah, you see something initial, but I wish that we slowed it back down. And this is exactly why I'm being personal here, why I'm now even trying to readjust, getting out of my comfort zone, as I've shared with the family, and going to events where I won't know the people and I will get to know them maybe through a sip and paint, through an art gallery, through whatever that event is where conversation will actually happen, and then maybe the attraction will happen. Does that make sense, McMack?
It definitely does. I'm all about the organic. I've never done the. Oh, my brain is broke. Hold on a second. What was I thinking to say?
Instant
Oh,
attraction.
the online dating. I've never done like
Okay.
the online dating and different things like that. I also don't put a lot of stock into people's social media for that reason.
Mm,
Because that's not really who they are. That's who they want to be. That's a snapshot of time. That's who they like to be, but honestly, that's not who they are on an everyday basis. That's not how they dress every day. People can say whatever they want to, but that and all of that stuff, everything that you buy, that you wear, that doesn't make you a better person.
beautiful point. And even with the best of intentions, nobody intentionally puts a bad picture up, to your point.
No,
So
no.
anything you're going to post on your social media site, you're not going to take a picture when you first wake up in the morning, you got matter in your eyes. You're going to intentionally post the best version of yourself, which again, that's not all of who you are, you know, because the real relationship is, what do that person look like I said, when they wake up in the morning, when they just hanging around the house, because not everybody has the perfect weave, and the big full lips and the clear skin. And so you're getting that representative. Absolutely. So let me read this point on this one. It says, as far as the fact, this is an important myth to dispel, especially if you have a history of making inappropriate choices.
Mm,
Instant sexual attraction and lasting love do not necessarily go hand in hand. Emotions can change and deepen over time, and friends sometimes become lovers if you give those relationships a chance to develop. And I just love all of that behind that. And that's why, even again, the woman I married, we were friends. I wasn't. And what's crazy is, let me be clear about that part. She wasn't instantly attracted to me either. She didn't see me and said, "Oh, I want that to be my husband." "Oh, he's so fine," or "I like him." We just knew each other, and then we
mhm.
were friends. And I'm not going to tell a whole story, but what's crazy is, this is the crazy part. The attraction happened on a 35-minute car ride while I was going to meet her friend. That was the crazy part, because it was the first time she and I talked to each other. And then another young lady that I was deeply, deeply in love with, I got to know her for some 36 days before I had ever seen her. I had not even seen her. I fell in love with her over the phone, over conversations we had over the phone. And then the crazy part was, like, I was like, I know I'm in love with this person. I hope, to your point, Kenny, I was like, I hope I like what I see. Now, I was told by my boy, yeah, she's your type. But again, you don't know if that person's your type till you see them. But my thing
Mhm.
was, I had fell in love with her, the person, long before I ever saw her. That was the crazy part. And that was interesting to me. All right, let's go on to myth number 3. Well, we wait for Sherry if she decides to join back. This one is, hmm, women have different emotions than men. I wish Sherry was here. Tasha, what I saw, I don't know how to read that gesture, and I wish I had more women on the panel to answer this. But is this a myth, or is this? What do you feel with women have different? No, and that's the operative word. Women have different emotions than men. Where do you stand on that one?
I don't think that's a myth. I think that we do. I think women do have different emotions from men, and I think that our emotions are a lot stronger oftentimes than men. So even in the way that we express it, in the way that we view it, I certainly feel like, of course, like everybody can feel like, if we're gonna list out emotions, sure, everybody can, it's gonna be like the same, like men can feel sad, happy, like stuff like that. But if we dig deeper into it, yeah, women's emotions are way different than men.
I so wish I had my full panel on this one here. I so wish I had my full panel on here. Grown woman says, I agree, Tosh. She says, I agree,
Mhm.
Tasha. And before she even said it, she said, you better know it, Lee. We sure do.
Ooh,
Kenny,
it's
if you're still
different.
on, brother, chime in. This came up on Monday's show somewhat. This is where I'm going to give a little pushback for
Okay.
me in this sense. It's very tiring to hear that somehow women feel deeper than we do. And when they act, and I'm going to use a specific thing. So I'm going to go off the rails just a second, but I'm going to come back to this point. Oh, when women cheat, it's because you've done something to them and they have to feel something towards the man. But a man can cheat because he's just going to cheat this, that, the other. And I'm only bringing it up in the context of this point here, that women have different emotions than men. I honestly believe, Tasha, is
Mhm.
a car. We have the same emotions. I believe we're in we have an unfair disadvantage when it comes to emotion. And this was we were debating this on the show about emotions, that I don't think we as men can express those emotions in the same way. So we have to react differently. But if you're saying we have different emotions, I honestly believe we have the same emotions in most cases, in just about many cases. Now, we're built different. I'm not denying that part. But I think we have the same emotions. But I think if a man shared those same emotions, reacted that same way, it would be perceived differently. And I think for that reason, it's inbred in us to hold back that emotion, to hold back. I think if we reacted the same and acted on emotions the same, one, we might be considered feminine, and you take a masculine guy, if he reacted emotionally on certain situation, the disrespect that comes with it, I think is immediate. And then I think it won't get reciprocated. And I think that's a product, again, of antiquated thinking that we've got to this place. That's my thought. Go ahead. I know you got a retort. Is it called,
No,
Tasha? I know you got a retort.
no, I would say this. That's what I said. Like if you listed out every single emotion, that's what I said. Of course, men are capable of experiencing. We're all capable of experiencing the same emotions. However, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a way to articulate it. But with women, for us, the way that it goes to it's intertwined into like the fibers of us. It's 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 just it's so different. I'm not even talking about just
I don't
the
disagree with
expression
you.
of it.
I don't
It's
disagree
just
with you.
it's so different. Because even I'll even take this again. You could give men and women the same scenario. You could present them with the same scenario.
Okay.
Women are going to, for the most part, they are going to process it. There may be some that think about it differently, but for the most part, we're going to process it, and it's going to hurt a lot worse. Let me ask you this: have you ever heard of broken heart syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know by and large women are the ones who experience that far more than men do?
I got a pushback for it. So
Okay.
my easy answer is yes. My easy answer is yes on its surface. Because my question, the pushback is, I don't disagree with what you said. My pushback is this innate feeling deeper on different levels that you can't articulate? Is it taught or is it
No,
inherent?
this is inherent. Look
You
at
believe
it.
you believe it's inherent.
Oh, it's inherent. You could go to preschools and you could see the difference in toddler boys and toddler. It's inherent.
I'm
I
so
don't know.
glad you brought that up. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
brought, but what are those influences on that preschool girl and on that preschool boy? So I'm raising the question, the chicken before the egg, because boys, and I use this analogy on the show Monday, we're raised the nursery rhyme itself. Little boys are made of puppy dog tails and whatever, however the fuck it goes, and little
Snake snails
girls
and
are,
puppy dog tails.
yeah,
Sugar spice and everything
and
nice. Yeah.
everything nice. And so my question is it taught even involuntarily, unknowingly, that as a little boy in that preschool, is that boy being taught inadvertently from the time that he's little, can even he's just going to kindergarten, that he has to withhold some of his emotion where a girl is allowed to express it and grow because it's a girl? That's
I
all I'm
could give
asking.
I could give you like I would give you that, like yeah, maybe in earlier generations, but now no. No.
My pushback,
It's
even
not.
that makes it even worse, in my opinion. That's why I said I wish I had the panel. I want to share a couple of comments, and we're gonna keep
Okay.
going with this because I knew this one would hit. Issachar says, if I can show the comment, hang on. She says, women tend to be more in tune to our emotions and thoughts, which is agreeing with what you thought. Issachar,
That's
again,
that's
my push.
Carol.
Oh, Carol, I'm sorry. Carol, I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry, Miss Carol. My pushback to that, Carol, is yes, on its surface, because is it taught that as by the time we get to be a man, are you telling me I'm not as in tune with my emotions and thoughts as a woman is? I believe I am. And I believe I'm higher than most, but I believe for a lot of men growing up in certain environments, especially when you consider that a lot of men are being raised either without fathers by women, but and part of me believes that that's stifled. And Terrence says, I agree with you, Black. I want to get a couple more comments, Constance, because I know you got some more to say on this.
I know, I'm listening.
Carol says, I find some men hold back on their emotions out of fear of how they are perceived. And that's exactly the point that I was making. Issachar says women were made to nurture, so our emotions to different things are different. It's a lot of women cheat because they want to, not necessarily because their spouse did something. Hold on, let me read that right. It's a lot of women cheat because they want to. Okay, not necessarily because I agree. I'm glad you mentioned that because
Yeah.
I believe just as many women cheat because it's opportunity. It's not that they feel so great and they've been hurt. If Dick presents itself to a woman the same way if pussy presents itself to men, if the opportunity is there and you want what you want in that moment, I don't think it goes sometimes any deeper than that. Terrence says, I think it's more biological. That's why I said this one is tricky. This one is tricky for me. Carol, the grown woman, don't cry, says they same as men opportunity. They're the same as men. I agree. And that's where I think, Tasha, to the point I was going to say about where we are now, I think in the past, again, because women were not in the workforce, they weren't getting an education, they had very little to none economic power. Once all that changed and those same opportunities presented themselves to women as men, I think people just are people. And so on this one,
Can
I
I
don't know.
can I
Go ahead,
can I
please.
give you one can I give you one more pushback?
Yeah, please.
This is controversial, and let me just say this. I don't care. You can fight your mom and your inner demons. Don't fight me, okay? I don't care.
Mhm.
This one right here is why for me trans women will never, 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 never fucking ever fucking know what it really means to be a woman because we're not wired the same. You're a man here biologically. You're a man here. You're still, no matter what you want to tell yourself, you're never truly going to understand what it means to be a woman. I do wish sometimes, not because, of course, because y'all are perverts, but I do wish sometimes men could truly just spend like an hour as being a woman, being in a woman's body, in a woman's mind, to see how different it is. It's different.
So my only question is, do you think that same affirmation and revelation would happen if a woman spent a day in a man's body, being what it's like to be a man?
It would it's exactly the same, and that's why you don't hear trans men going as hard at men as trans women do
No, I
go
just want to
coming
make
at
sure
women.
that
Yeah,
I
it goes
only
it goes
point I'm
the
making
same
here is
way.
that no, and that's why first of all, I agree with you 1000%, as grown woman don't try me says, but I'm only advocating for my male as well, that you know, as different as it is being a woman, it ain't no fucking picnic on this other side with that swinging piece behind your leg, between your legs either, because so that's why I say this one, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I'm only questioning. I'm not questioning actually your logic. I'm only questioning how we got here. Just so you know, women watching this, I'm only questioning whether this is a product that since they say women have different emotions, are these different emotions that women have a product of being inherent or ingrained in us and taught over time, whether it's intentional or not? That's the only thing that I'm questioning here. Terrence says, true statement, Tasha. Oh, and be wet them coming in. What's going on, Sister
Hey,
Hannah? How
Hannah.
you doing, sweetheart? You came in because I want to get your thoughts on this one just to hear, and we got to move on. We're gonna go too deep, but I do. Well, before I read the fact, we're talking about some common myths that prevent us from finding the right person, and I want to know your thought. You came in right on time. What do you think about the fact that it said that women have different emotions than men? You agree or disagree?
I agree
Why?
because we're emotional. Women are emotional. That's why I say I don't want a woman president. We're emotional. We act on emotions. It's just in us, I guess. No matter how, that's why they said we wear our heart on our sleeves. We're emotional. So I definitely think that we're more emotional than men. I'm not saying y'all don't have emotions, but it seems like y'all are taught not to express your emotions. So when it's time to express your emotions, you're unable to do so. And that was poor teaching growing up, thinking you a man, you don't have to express yourself, you can't act like that. So when it's harder sometimes for you guys because you were taught not to. And learned behavior is hard to break.
Brother Be Wet, what do you think on this one? Women have different emotions than men.
Hey Tosh.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And in a way, as far as how the way men were, I mean, we should be a little bit more in touch with or more in tune with our emotions to a certain degree, because then we'll be able to express ourselves a whole lot better instead of like holding everything in and then exploding at one time. But yeah, they definitely, women are just, that's just how the way, like, just to piggyback off of what Hannah said, they just built that way. In some ways it's good, in some ways it's to their detriment.
Mm, mm. I love it. Again, we could go even further, but you guys were right on time with it. Let me read what it says here. And they're saying this is fact. Women and men feel similar things, but sometimes express their feelings differently.
She expressing
Often,
herself in the background.
and just so you know, I'm reading this for the first time along with you guys. I don't
What was the question?
pre-screen anything. So again, women and men feel similar things, but sometimes express their feelings differently, often according to society's conventions. But both men and women experience the same core emotions, such as sadness, anger, fear, and joy. I like that. It really kind of encapsulated everything we are talking about.
Yeah.
It really did. So I really like that. Wow. And again, this is my first time reading this, folks. So I didn't go any further than right here with you guys. Let's go on to the next myth. This one says, whoo, true love is constant. or physical attraction fades over time. Now, again, they're saying this is a myth. True love is constant, or physical attraction fades over time. Agree or disagree? Tackle
Why
either
is
one
it
of those.
why?
Huh?
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask why is it and or? I'm just
Yeah, but
asking.
oh, okay, I'm about to say, yeah, I was about to say
Yeah,
the
no,
same thing.
I guess it's linking it because to me these are two separate myths and
Yeah,
they're connecting them together. So the one is true love is constant. That's for some people, they believe that that's the truth, that true love is constant. And some people believe apparently that physical attraction fades over time. And I'll start while y'all get your thoughts together. That second one, we hear that all the time.
mhm.
That beauty is only skin deep. You know what I'm saying? And you know what it's got me thinking about the movie Players Club.
Yeah.
You know, when whatever the get you sitting young girl, what you gonna do with that body? You better use it before you lose it, or whatever her little saying was. You know what I'm saying? Because why you got this body? And so that one right there, physical attraction fades over time. Is that a myth?
No,
Because I'm only asked, I'm not giving my opinion yet. Is that a myth? Because is it not factual that physical, I'm not saying in my opinion, that physical attraction fades over time. We all get older. Tasha gets on me all the time about I'm holding women to a higher standard because they get fat and their titties don't stand up and their ass. It's not like a 10-year-old boy. so,
I'm saying that analogy.
so
No,
either one of these,
physically, yes, everybody changes, but your physical attraction to your if we're speaking specifically in terms of like a relationship and things like
right,
that,
right.
no, your physical attraction, I would think no matter what is going to I would hope in your relationship that you would still be attracted to your partner. Now, of course, we all know people who are with people that they don't like the way they look, or their spouse significant other has gained weight, whatever it is, or gotten too skinny, or maybe has had like other like health issues. But I would still think physically, like when you look at that person, like sometimes like when you're with someone, like those older couples that you see, when they look at each other, they don't necessarily see like the old person, they see the person that they fell in love with. So I think that, but I think that also kind of goes back to the other point that we were talking about, like that instant attraction. Of
Right.
course, yeah, there you may have that instant attraction, but you're going to change. We're all going to change, even if you have work done on you. You're still going to change. Nobody, no, like you say, Father Time is undefeated. You're gonna change. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And as
So
far as like true love is constant, I would think is that a myth? No, I don't think that that's a myth. I would say love you if you choose to be with someone, if you choose to marry them, if you choose to be in a relationship, I would think that you love them constantly. You may not like them at times. You may go through periods of time where you don't like them, but I don't necessarily conflate that with loving them. That's just me.
Mm, Tasha makes some killer points here. Grown woman, don't try me. Carol says, absolutely, Tasha. Uh, Hannah Burt, chime in here. Either one of these.
I definitely agree with Tasha for us that, but I think sometimes physical attraction can change when people don't want to keep themselves up. They get comfortable from what you first fell in love with, and then sometimes people tend to get comfortable and let themselves go. So I'm not saying that it can change, but we all gonna gain weight. I'm bigger than Bert and I first met. I know that. I want to lose 50 pounds. He won't allow it, but I know I'm bigger. However, I still keep myself up, which makes sense. So if I feel like if I just was out here looking crazy, and that's not something you're used to seeing when you let your significant other, when y'all meet, you're not used to them like letting themselves totally go. I'm not going to say that your physical attraction change, but you can get turned off. If you want to be honest, to me, I feel like you can get turned off. if you
Mm.
decide to not even care about yourself anymore.
I don't disagree, but I want to add a different element to it because as a single man, I want to tell you how this one hits me. But Bert, what do you want to add to this, my brother?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the ladies as far as what they're saying, as far as always being attracted to that person that you do love. If you are in a relationship, and just piggyback off of what Tasha was saying, yeah, I mean, you already understand the game. You already understand that as we get older, we change. You know what I'm saying? But I like what she said as far as when you see older folks and when they look at each other, they through their lens, they aren't looking at their right now self. They're looking at their former self in their mind, like they didn't even age. This is the woman. This is the man that I fell in love with. Now, as far as love being constant, yes, I do believe that it's constant. I believe that it's long suffering. You know what I mean? No, I'm going a little script, but it is. It is because when you love somebody, you're willing to endure sometimes some of the nonsense, like what they were saying. Sometimes you might not like them at that time,
Amen.
but but at the moment, but you still love them. You know, even with all the inconsistencies, even if they're not perfect, and you know they're not perfect, they know they're not perfect, but you still love them at the end of the day.
Mm. Mm. All great points. I love it. Grown woman, don't try me says, agreed, Tasha. You can love them and not like them at times. And
I
that
feel that
may
way
that
about Black. I love you, but I don't like you sometimes. Fucking asshole. No, I'm just
I, I feel that. I feel that. I really feel that. I know she loves me, but I damn sure know she don't always like me. And that's a fact. It make me think of Michelle Obama. She talks about that about her husband because so many people were, oh, y'all got the perfect marriage, and I like how she brought him back down to real level. That no, we ain't perfect. Sometimes I don't even like him just because he's the president. I don't even like his ass sometimes. So I really like that she made that point. Grown woman says right because that's who they fell in love with, and you accept things about them. Terrence chimes in and says, physical attraction does fade over time. It is inevitable. So I agree. Okay, let me take both of these. And again, I'm going to go personal here. True love is constant. Here's where I'm going to disagree with that in this sense. I ended my marriage while still knowing I had the deepest love for my wife. And I've never remarried. And I tell people all the time, I have current dreams where if I'm married, hers is the only face I see. If I'm married in my dream, hers is the only face. And I've been divorced for 26 years. And my love for her, I still have a great deal of love for her. And even I think about exes I have. But my love for them wasn't enough to keep us together, number one. And in terms of finding the right person, if this is a myth that true love is constant, I think for me, I have always separated love and being in love for me. And that for me, those are two different things. I've ended relationships where I love the person, but I fell out of love with that person. And I have a little saying that I operate under where I say my head is stronger than my heart. And that's not necessarily a good thing, but it just has always been how I operate. I even wonder, would I still be married had I not followed my head and followed my heart? In my heart, I still wanted to be married to my wife, but my pride was hurt, and I didn't have the tools as a younger person, to know how to fight to keep it working. And so I took an easier way out. We didn't have any kids, and so I didn't have any older couples to lean on for wisdom and experience. And it was just easier to act on what was going on up here. But that was and the other part, that was a hurt in my heart I don't ever want to feel again. And I think that's another reason why I'd never remarried, because I didn't know somebody could hurt me that deep of lose. That was the second most important decision I had ever made in my life. I failed at it. The first decision I consider is, my relationship with God. And I don't say I failed at it. It's a work in progress.
All right. Yeah.
It's a work in progress. And I'm glad that God, and all his balance of wisdom, justice, love, and power, is long suffering. We use that word, and allowing us as imperfect humans to make all of the mistakes we make and still love us. So that's why that's a work in progress. But I failed at the second most important decision I had ever made. And I never thought something could hurt so deep. And I shut off a part of my heart because I never wanted to feel that again. And I've even gotten out of relationships before I could get hurt because of that. And so for me, I've operated on that's not necessarily the best thing, but that's what's got me here. And then the second one, where it talks about physical attraction fades over time. Do you know that my standard when I was young, if you had asked me said this 20 years ago, I feel different than I feel now. I've had to revamp my standard of physical attractiveness. Now, I'm always going to find a fat ass attractive. If an 80-year-old woman walked past me and got an ass that's as strong enough to hold up a bowling ball, I'm going to think, my God, that old lady she's dragging a wagon here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be attracted to it in that sense. But if we're talking about finding the right person, I completely revamped my standard of physical attraction. And for me, it has faded. That is not even close to the top of my list of what I'm looking for. Somebody posted a video, and I saw it today, and it was a joke, and I posted it on my page, where the guy said, all the twerking has made me hate big asses. And in many ways, that's true for me. And I never thought I could get to a point in my life where I want women to put some fucking clothes on. I'm so sick of half-naked women shaking their asses, real or built, that it's turned me off completely. So the physical attraction part, that's not even at the top of my list anymore. When I'm driving around, I'm going in stores, of course I see attractive women. Tasha's on the phone with me many times when I said, she got a fat pumping ass. And that's the extent of it for me at that point. But do you know that wouldn't even make the top 5 in terms of me finding the right person? In all seriousness, and I mean this with every part of my being, physical attractiveness is not that big on my list. And I don't want no booger bear. I don't want no big back bitch because again, that's not my preference. So I'm not saying that some bitch with a big fat eye in the middle of her head and coming to me like that and that we gonna get together. No, you gotta have some shit to be together. You gotta be clean, intelligent, funny, good personality, and all that kind of stuff. But the physical attractiveness, that's kind of moved far back from me now because it has changed over time.
I have something to say. I want to add
Sure.
something because I know Terrence, and I feel like we're talking about two different things. I do.
Okay.
Because Terrence said that physical attraction fades over time. It's inevitable. We're not talking about the attractive. For me, when I read this, I'm not thinking about the attractiveness. Yes, we all know looks. Everybody
Correct.
changes, looks fade.
Correct.
I'm talking about specifically in the
I agree with
terms
you.
of a relationship,
I
your
agree with
physical
you.
attraction to that person.
I agree.
So are you guys saying that you're entering into relationships and just automatically assuming that at some point this bitch is gonna turn into a booger bear to you? That you just gonna look up and like, I can't stand looking at this bitch, but here the fuck I am. Is that what y'all are saying? Because that's what I'm understanding y'all to say. That it's inevitable that you're gonna be with a partner and that you're gonna be unattracted to them. It's gonna happen. That's
well,
what
I'm saying, I won't speak for Terrence.
Yeah, okay.
I won't speak for myself. I am saying that my expectation is that person's actual physical appearance will change over time, whether that she gains a little weight or loses some weight, loses hair, whatever. But I like your point that if I'm in love with the person and I'm in a relationship and it's a healthy relationship, yeah, I'm still going to see the person that I fell in love with.
Right.
But I can't deny the other part of what he's saying, that it is inevitable that I'm not going to lie on my eyes either. So in that same healthy relationship, when a woman walks in the room and says, baby, how I look in this dress? If she has gained 20 pounds and she's looking like a boiled potato with a belt around her, I'm not going to lie to her and tell, baby, you looking fine. No, bitch, take that off. You're too fat for that dress now. It's inevitable that those things are going to happen. Yes. But again, that don't mean I love you. And to your point, Tasha, I still find you attractive.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about.
But that's why. But I'm just explaining
your physical. Because you're
right. Those are two separate things. But they are two separate things. But I'm just acknowledging that maybe for women, this is going back to the previous question, how y'all emote and articulate it differently. I'm just saying for men, those two things are inextricably tied, because yes, I still want to feel something for you, but I'm not going to lie on my eyes, because to Hannah's point, you still want to keep yourself up. My favorite Destiny's Child song is Cater to You. So when I roll over, I don't want to see you with that fucking big bonnet on your head and in granny drawers and flannel pajamas and shit. Because even though you physically might change, at least put some effort into this shit. Don't come rolling to bed the same way I roll to bed.
Damn, so she can't protect her hair. She can't be comfortable in comfy pajamas.
I'm not saying that.
Just regular drawers. Yeah, dog.
No, okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not expecting a string up. I know that's what you heard. But come on, I'm talking about the extreme cases of, oh, fuck it, I got him now. So, I don't know. Just to show you, I ain't been in a so long time. Women, at least women I've been with, they had what they call period panties. Now, that I guess when they wear the big Kotex or whatever the fuck they got going on down there, because I never really wanted to know too much what's happening down there. But they had a certain kind of drawers that they put on, I guess, to hold the shits in place. So I can tolerate that. But don't wear that 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying you ain't got to be Whitley where you get up before me and go in the bathroom and secretly brush your teeth and then fix your head and lay on the pillow so that when I roll over. But I am saying and shit that if you got halitosis, work on that shit. If your hair is all nappy and beady, comb that shit. And again, if we lay next to each other and you're going to want to be laying your big heavy ass head on my arm and snuggling up against me, you shouldn't be in flannel pajamas. At least give me something to roll. If I got to hold your ass, well, at least squeeze some ass and some good draws. Come on now. Make it work.
You're making it very difficult for us to find somebody to do.
But that makes
you're making it very difficult for us.
Blake, I'll say this. I'm on your side with this one.
Terrence was just saying, Tasha, you know what you was talking about. Go ahead, Carter.
No, I said, Blake, I'm actually on your side with this one. I do not disagree with anything you say. I know that's rare.
She said, damn. She said, damn, that's rare.
But I'm on your side with this one.
I thank you. Issachar says, true love is true love. You'll love them regardless if their looks changes.
Yes.
I agree with you in that sense. I really do. And that's why I wanted to be transparent and vulnerable to tell you guys, when I've operated from my heart, I'm not saying that was the best decision. It's just who I am. And I haven't had the value of I've never been in counseling. I've never talked to anybody. So I've always operated on what's going on up here. And that may not be the best case, because looking at it now, I don't even know if I really have fought as hard as I should have or could have. To my mind, I think I did, but in my heart, did I give up on some relationships before I should have? I don't know.
We're gonna get you a therapist.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I need one.
Yeah, you do.
Grown woman says it's not rare. I think all women want to look good in bed and out of bed.
Yeah.
I don't.
They don't want to be comfortable. That's
Okay,
all.
so, Tasha. No, Tasha makes a good point. I don't know if they all want to look good. I think Carol, they want to look good initially when they attract, and not just women, men do the same shit. I think initially, going back to the beginning of this, we put our best foot forward. Even that guy that's got his fucking mattress on the floor, initially, to get the woman, he does put somewhat of a clean bedspread on this shit on the floor, and he gonna stomp out some of the roaches when she come in. But once he got the pussy, then we tend to kind of let things lax. And I think people sometimes, to Hunter's point, let themselves go because there's a comfort level that happens that just kicks in. Grown woman, don't try me, says you can be comfortable and not look. I agree. That's the point I'm making. So that's the point I'm saying. Finding that balance. I like my drawers with holes in them, but I can do that because I live alone. But no, I'm bringing that up for a reason. When I've been in a relationship, guess what a woman gonna do when she looks through my drawers and does the laundry? She's not gonna say anything to me. She's gonna throw them away, and I'm gonna be pissed. But that's my comfort. So I've had to find that balance that they said, look, that's just absolutely ridiculous. No, I've had women just tear them up right in front of me. Like that's just damn ridiculous. And
so
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so if you were doing the laundry and you saw the big old drawers and stuff of hers, you were just gonna tear them up, throw them away?
No, I don't. Because in my mind, this is the crazy part. To my thinking, that I guess they serve a purpose, and maybe those are her comfortable panties. I don't know if those are the ones she wear when she has certain outfits. I'm just saying I don't want to see the bitches when she come to bed. But I ain't gonna throw them away. I'm gonna fold them bitches. I'm gonna fold them big bitches neatly and sit them on the side.
Why are you doing your hands so big? They're not. You put your hands so wide. They're not that big.
I'm just saying.
Because who's wearing those big drawers?
I wear full drawers. That cute shit. I'm not doing that cute shit anymore.
My wife was a petite woman.
Nothing up my ass. I don't want nothing. I wear full drawers. My whole ass is covered. I know two women that I know that had nice little shapes. My wife included one of them, but they had some panties that I'm like, and the panties came up all around her fucking navel. Why do you need panties
it wasn't
that come up right under your navel? Like, what the fuck, really?
The brief drawers are back in. The brief drawers are back in.
So what's a brief? What's considered a brief?
The brief are like the ones that you're talking about that come like up to your navel and stuff. Those are briefs. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like those. I'm sorry. I don't like those.
No, we're not talking about the shorts. We're talking about like the briefs. Like they're regular. They look like
men underwear,
but they come up. They just cover everything.
See, I don't like those.
A Spanx?
Girl, no, not Spanx.
Oh, girl, because I'm trying to figure out what drawers is on your stomach.
No, like the briefs.
Wrong woman says she ain't gonna have nothing in her crack.
I'm not doing that. Like the cheek hanging. I'm not doing that shit anymore. No, thank you. I want my whole ass covered.
What is called women?
Okay, only thing I'm asking is I'm not advocating because y'all got to wear them that you wear them out, but it's nice to put on just to parade around if you're having a romantic evening, right?
Romantic evening.
I see, Tasha, these are cute.
I'm either naked or I have on clothes. That's it.
Well, I'll take naked then. If it's a choice between
no.
Oh, so let me read the fact portion of this. It says a true love. It says love is rarely static, but that doesn't mean love or physical attraction is doomed to fade over time. As we age, both men and women have fewer sexual hormones, but emotion often influences passion more than hormones, and sexual passion can become stronger over time. Okay. Okay. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. We got two more to get into quick and we're going to get out of here.
Mhm.
Grown woman says briefs give full coverage.
That part.
I guess I would
That
have
part.
to see them, and it would depend on the woman's shape. If she got a nice size ass and got a little bit of stomach, she might need those briefs anyway. So I
And you
get
know what? It's not for the stomach.
it. Well, that's the only reason that would make sense why they would come beneath your navel.
I just
Because
thought,
if you ain't got no stomach, then your panties shouldn't be up to your fucking navel.
Mm-mm. Who ain't and nobody but teenagers should be wearing low rise anything. Okay, teenagers can wear that
I
shit.
don't know
No,
about that. That's why I say
you,
you wear
I'm
low
okay
rise
with a little
clothes.
stomach. So if you got a little stomach and you got an ass, then you're gonna have a puck in the back and a little puck in the front. So that makes sense.
What? What?
That that would make sense.
move on, Black. Get off the girl.
Please,
Get off the
please.
girl. Just move on.
Here's the next one. I'll be able to change the things I don't like about someone. I think we universally can say this is a freaking myth.
A huge.
Anybody disagree with that?
I 100% agree. That's
And I'm just gonna read this one because again, I think that's anybody who still think that you can change something you don't like about somebody.
foolish.
Yeah, that's just foolish. That it says simply, and that's why this one was real short. Even on this, it says you can't change anyone.
No.
People only change if and when they want to change, and that's all it said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't think you have to even delve on that one. We'll close out with this last one as a myth. I didn't feel close to my parents, so intimacy is always going to be uncomfortable for me. I do like this one as a myth because I do think sometimes in finding the right person, how much blame do we place on the environment we came from, blaming our parents? I don't feel close to my parents, so intimacy is always going to be uncomfortable for me. How much responsibility is it on your parents and how your connection to what you bring? Because we do said at the beginning, there is baggage. So how about this one for anybody?
That's an excuse. It's an excuse.
I say I agree.
When you hit and no matter whatever it is, when you hit 21, you can no longer blame anything on your childhood, your parents. You're a fucking adult. Deal with your shit. Nobody's saying it's gonna be easy. Deal with your shit. But there has to come a point in every adult person's life where you have got to stop blaming your childhood. You have to, and you have to stop. You have to stop blaming your parents. Of parents, they're not perfect. They didn't do what you wanted to. Yes, it did shape you. Yes, it did make you who you are. However, you have a choice to stay that person. You have a choice to keep living in that or grow the fuck up.
Woo. That comment was smoking. So Hannah, Bert, you want to add anything to this one? That for some people, they feel like, hey, if I'm not close, I wasn't close to my parents. And so for them, they're never going to have a sense of intimacy and feel comfortable with another person. What do you think?
I 100% agree with Tasha. When you get a certain age, you got to stop blaming everything on your parents. Because when we get a certain age, we set our own paths in life. We try to change our own ways. You can't define yourself from what your childhood was. Because when you get older, you want to make your own path anyway. So why is it that you want to make your own path, form your own way? But then when it's something negative, oh, it's because of my childhood. No, it's because you were using that as a crutch. No, it's not because of your childhood. You don't want to face it. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to get therapy. You don't want to talk about it. So the easiest blame is to blame it on your childhood instead of taking self-responsibility and realizing, no, I need to deal with this. This is me. Just like people were like, oh, I'm like this because of my past relationships. Your past relationships shouldn't define your future relationships. You're choosing to let it. And that's the choice that you make.
Bravo. Be wet. What you got to add, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I know from what your parents do. I mean, it can damage you, but at the end of the day, if you're with someone and you truly love them, I mean, that shouldn't be something that's going to stop you from being intimate with them. You know,
Absolutely.
it's definitely, and I agree with Tasha and I agree with Hannah. It's an excuse. You know, grow up. You know, you can't keep playing that all the time. That gets played out. You know, if anything, you should be like, you know what? I want to turn away from that so I can be better than that, and so that won't affect me and affect the person that I love. On intimacy, because you killing yourself from enjoying yourself. So you can't. You got like you said. You got to grow up. Just
My
grow up.
brother went. My brother
Let that
went where
go.
I'm going to go. My brother went where I'm going to go. Terrence says, I agree with you, Tasha. It's an excuse. And I want to read
Mhm.
Issachar's comment, and even on this one. She meant this one for the last one, but I'm going to tie this in too. Issachar says, it's a saying, if you, no, that's, I wanted to give before that one. Hold on. You had another comment. No, I'm sorry, Carol. I keep getting y'all mixed up. Carol says, if I have to change something about someone, then I don't want to be with them anyway. And that was on the last one. But I want to even comment on that about how the responsibility is on you, because you're not dating your parents. You're dating that individual person. And I'm literally here to tell you that how much the responsibility is on you, whether you had a close relationship with your parents or not. I have no idea who my father is. I mean, I know he is, but I don't know the no good motherfucker. I even know
Nope.
where he is. Yeah, he's in Chicago somewhere. I hope he got sores all over him right now. So God
Oh,
bless you.
oh
So
wow.
fuck him.
Okay.
So I don't know what it's like to have a father. And I was raised in a single mom parent household, and my mom was not an affectionate person. So I
Mm,
didn't grow up with hugs and kisses and wiping my knee and putting band-aids on. We were had to be very self-sufficient. And to your point, brother B, it made me go completely in an opposite direction. My mom was extremely mean. I knew from being a kid that I said, oh, I can't wait to get my house. I'm gonna be so nice to people. I'm extremely hospitable because we grew up in a household that wasn't hospitable. And because my mother wasn't very affectionate, I didn't want to bring that to my relationship.
right.
And I'm so affectionate in a relationship that it's sickening, believe it or not. I love little pet terms that call them who I'm with, baby this, baby that. And the best part that I miss about a relationship is like you two are sitting there right now. I could sit on the couch for hours with who I'm with, just laying on my lap, and all is right with my fucking world in that moment. Everything I want is right here. I'm watching TV and she can fall asleep and pull a cover up. I'm very affectionate in it, and it's because I didn't experience it. And so in a relationship, I had a simple rule is I don't go to bed angry because I didn't want anything negative to fester and grow. Now, inadvertently, I've done things as inevitably we as dumb men we do, but I always tried to fix it. And that's because I wanted to make sure that I didn't allow that lack of intimacy and closeness I had with my mom to bleed over into any relationship. And so to you ladies' points, and all of us on this panel, you're not going to use that as an excuse that you wasn't close to your mommy and daddy.
Mm.
Because by the time you commit to me, you better have worked that shit out, and be ready to have a real relationship. And if it's not gonna be no intimacy, then it's not gonna be a relationship anyway. Then we just fucking. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? Now let's get to a couple of comments in here. Issachar says it's a saying: if you start doing something that you didn't like about your parents, do the opposite. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Issachar. Absolutely. That it should make you do something different and do better. Grown woman, don't try me, says it's an excuse to do what you want and blame others. Absolutely. And in a relationship for adults, the blame is on you. Don't enter in a relationship if you ain't ready to take all the responsibility. And that's just a fact. So we got one last one to get out of here, folks. One last myth to examine. This one simply says disagreements always. No, I didn't read the fact on the last one. I'm sorry, because I wanted to read that about the closeness. The fact part says it's never too late to change any pattern of behavior. Over time and with enough effort, you can change the way you think, feel, and act. Well said. Well said. The last myth: disagreements always create problems in a relationship. Ooh, and I'm glad we got our resident couple here to answer this one for us. But again, Tasha and I've been in relationships. Disagreements, all this is now, mind you, we're examining this as a myth to finding the right person. Disagreements always create problems in a relationship.
I don't agree.
Okay.
You can have disagreement without it being an argument. Sometimes, if someone has a difference, it might be better for you. Like that's you to decide, I want to go here, and they say, "Oh no, I don't think that's good," because they already knew what's going on down there. Y'all going to disagree, but at the end, it might be more beneficial to you. So I think you can have a disagreement without having an argument, and it's not going to create a rift in the relationship. You know how to handle disagreement, because there's no way you're going to be in a functional relationship and always 100% agree. That doesn't even make sense. Sometimes we disagree with our own selves of to we want to make. So you
Right.
can't say you're going to always agree with the other person, because if you always going to agree with me, then I might as well be by myself, because that doesn't make sense. I need you to let me know, no, maybe we shouldn't do this, or maybe we should do this a certain way, because that's just, I feel like that's better functional. So I don't think disagreement, but just don't turn a disagreement into an argument. It's the difference.
Love that. Grown woman, don't try me, says you need to be able to talk through your disagreements. Agree. Be wet. Give us the wisdom of being a husband with this one right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't say it like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he the only married couple. Y'all the only married couple on there.
Look, iron sharpens iron, and everybody's going to have their own opinion and their own way of thinking. So a disagreement is always going to come about, but it's just how the way you handle it, And a lot of times you might not like what's being said, but it might be for your betterment, But it all depends on how the way you handle that disagreement. It don't have to be bigger than what it is. You know what I mean? You can talk about it. We can agree to disagree. How about that? We can agree just to disagree. Hey, listen,
I love it.
I don't agree with what you're saying.
I love it.
I don't think what you're saying is right. But guess what? That's okay. And we can just keep it, and we can keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So we can't be so personal about what's going on. We got to understand that that person is not coming from a place, and hopefully they're not coming from a place of hate or anything like that. They're coming from a place of where they want to just help you out. But if you just don't agree with it, you just don't agree with it. But to me, I think it's healthy. Everything is not going to be perfect all the time. That's life in general. Nothing is going to be perfect, but it's just about how the way you're going to be able to work through it.
I agree, Tasha. I want to tweak it for you, but I want your opinion, of course. Issachar says this is why communication is key. Absolutely. So, Tasha, you've never been married.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord knows you argue, baby.
I love to argue.
I wasn't gonna say that. I promise you I wasn't gonna say that. And she said it for me. So that's where I thank you. Thank you for that. Because again, Tasha is a strong personality. So in your relationships, how did this play out, Tasha? Because you just said you love to argue.
I love to argue.
On this
That's because
one,
I'm always right.
You know what?
Okay.
I'm right. I be right, and people just don't want to believe me. That's why.
So most disagreements always create problems in relationship. Where do you stand on this as a person who loves to argue?
Yeah, depending on how you disagree, yeah, it can. It's that modifier in there always.
Right.
Like sometimes
Okay.
it could be just the simplest thing. Just like the simplest disagreement on, like how something is done, how like cleaning, disagreement in the cleaning, like the efficiency of the cleaning. Hell, how many times have people just had a disagreement going down the road, traveling pre-GPS? Okay, we're talking about you got maps, you got the atlas,
Right,
you get
right.
lost and shit. So I mean, I think it just depends on what it is. But does it always create a problem? It doesn't always have to. Especially if you just fucking listen to me. I'm always right. I'm telling you, I know what I know.
She believed that shit to her core, y'all.
I believe
So
it.
wait a minute, Black. So you telling me most of the time now I don't always say I told you so, but how many times you be like, oh yeah, I should have just listened to you.
I'm so glad you said that because so let me answer in my way. But I want to get this comment in first. Issachar says, I don't argue. I'm not letting nobody raise my blood pressure. If we can't talk like two adults, I don't have anything to say. Whew, Issachar, you kind of, I love what you said because I'm going to go there. Tasha is right so many times. There's many times I don't think she's right. But here's where being a man comes into play. I know enough. I know better than to say that. I know better than to say that. So this is the thing about disagreements and their degrees.
Mhm.
And this is where all these comments come into play. Communication. You said it's healthy. I think disagreements like you be with is healthy for a relationship. I wouldn't even want somebody who did everything like me. I choose somebody who's opposite of me for a reason. Do you really think I could be with a woman that has the same fucking sexual morals and values that I have? I would choke the shit out of her, and I would
Oh,
I would P Diddy
I
her
would say
ass.
for a week.
okay.
You probably could do it for a week.
Hell no.
That's not.
Me being me, and I'm not talking about physically hurting somebody. Just so you know, I'm
We
being
know.
going there. But I mean, me being me, the relationships I've been in, I need somebody to pull my personality and my thing all the way back. I typically am in relationship with people who don't drink, don't smoke. You definitely can't be a smoker.
Mm.
I can smoke, but she can't smoke. That's a deal breaker. She can take a drink, but she can't drink like me. I can't. I wouldn't want a. I'm just being honest with you. That's why I'm telling you I need somebody opposite of me. She can drink liquor, but you can't match me drink for drink and be my woman.
Oh,
No, no. And then again, I typically with somebody that we really have very different views on many things. My wife was an outside person. I'm an inside person. She sit in the sun, read books, and worked in the yard. I don't do none of that shit. You know, I was a homemaker. I did the shopping, cleaning, laundry. That's, all that. My ex-girlfriend, she was a health nut, so I ate all the unhealthy shit. And here she making juices and all this is before this shit was even popular, you know. And even when we go to see something simple as movie, she didn't like horror movies. That's too scary. And this, that, and the other. And ain't no demons gonna be coming in my house. This, that. So disagreements. Long as we don't disagree on the major things that matter. So this is where the communication, because that's what matters to me. That how do we feel about children, disciplining children, marriage, and commitment. And those are the things we have to agree on so that's going to keep the relationship strong. But to your point, Tasha is one of the most intelligent people I know. I didn't say women, people. I go to her for so much. Now, there are things I disagree with her with, but I ain't going to tell her ass
He
because
says
she
it.
because she
He
likes
says it
to
in a
be
way.
right.
He
Yeah,
says it in
and
a way.
so even in a relationship, as a man, sometimes, and be with, you can attest to me sharing this tidbit with you sometimes. I I don't pass on many tips to people that are in relationships, but here's one I would give to any relationship. As a boyfriend, as a husband, sometimes you have to be wrong, even when you're not wrong, so that you can keep the disagreements in check. So you have to know when to win a fight.
I agree. And also with an argument, there has to be a winner. and that means that somebody has to go ahead and decimate the other person.
Look at her. Look at her.
Win. So I don't want to argue. All right.
And I actually don't argue
my
either.
Point across, but I don't care about a winner or a loser. I really don't.
Sir.
No,
real talk.
Real
This
talk.
is real talk.
I'm being real.
This is real talk.
I'm being real talk.
You.
No, I'm saying for real. For real. Like if I know that I'm right about something, I'm not gonna keep prolonging it and keep it going. Like, listen, if you think you're right, then fine, so be it. If I know I'm right and you're right, Black, sometimes you just gotta know when to be quiet. Me and a couple brothers was talking about that. It's an art to it, and they had to get to a point in their relationships where they just had to be quiet. It wasn't that they were dumbing themselves down or being like a coward. It was like, look, I don't got time for all these other things that we can put our energy into. I'm just gonna shut up. It's all right. That's fine. You right. And keep it moving.
Do you know, Tasha, how many times in a relationship I disagreed with the person and I said, well, go ahead on, do it. Mm-hmm. And again, I sit and watch it unfold, but I knew better than to your point, our friendship is so strong that you're right. You love me enough. I believe that you don't say Black. Now, sometimes she will call me on it and say, I told your ass or whatever, but not on important shit, and that's where love comes into play. That sometimes I promise you, I've been and watch it. Sometimes I'll watch it happen and I've shook my head and you just smile, just going. And that's because, again, to your point, Issachar, now I don't argue. I hate arguing in terms of an actual argument in my house. I'll argue with a motherfucker on my job. I don't know these motherfucking people. You know what I'm saying? I told a bitch today, some Jamaican bitch, and I'm not going to sign, bitch. I don't care if you go to school or not, to be honest with you, I didn't say that to her, but I told her in a really harsh way, look, do whatever you think you want to do. Just know to get started, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm not going to call you anymore on it. It's up to you. And you could tell she was offended. I was sending her the message. I don't give a fuck if your potato face ass go to school or not.
You know what? He was doing so well.
No, I'm just saying. But in my house, I'm not going to argue. I have to have peace. In my house, I don't argue. We can disagree. So I'm like you. I know. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say this is one way that I know that Black isn't gonna listen to me. He's gonna do what he wants to do because he says this. He says the same thing every time, and I'll be like, I can't wait to have that moment of satisfaction. He'll say this. That's okay. I know what I'm gonna do. He just says, that's all right. I know what I'm gonna. I know what I'm doing. He'll say it like 2 or 3 times in a row. Okay, well, fuck you then. Okay, don't fucking ask me anymore.
I need your input.
That's when I just shut it down. I'll leave it alone, just topic, and then he'll come back to me. He'll tell me. Sometimes he'll tell me right away. Sometimes he'll wait. Be like, oh, well, you was right about that. It'll come up. So
from the beginning of the show,
what do you say? I know what I'm gonna do. What do you say?
Go ahead.
All right. What do you say?
When he says like 2 or 3 times, because he'll gradually he doesn't yell. He's true. He doesn't like really argue. He'll gradually get up like a little bit. That's what I'm like, and he'll get like really, really firm in what he's saying. That's when I know, okay, leave it alone. If not, if we keep going, it will lead to an argument. So I just leave it alone. I don't even say nothing. That's when we change subject. We change to something else immediately.
But I've told everybody on this panel, Tasha has masculine energy. She's like me in that sense that, okay, she just leave it alone. And she's right. She is not lying. She's telling the truth. So
yep, I just be like, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's why his ass was cold on that train. Yeah, that's exactly right.
She told me as plain as day. She says, Black, take a small pillow and take a blanket. As sure as I'm sitting here, I said, I ain't gonna need all that.
Yeah, they cut the girl.
I said, I ain't gonna need all that. Tasha, it's just a plane. It's just a train. I'm gonna take me a jacket. She said, I'm telling you, Black, get yourself a little cooler, this, that, the other. See, I got on that train. It was colder than a motherfucker.
Because that train starts in Florida. So it's already
Keep it
made it.
cool in there.
No,
Keep it cool
they
in
keep
there.
it cool for other reasons because all the smells and stuff. Think about like a
Mhm.
doctor's office from anesthetic purposes, and it be cold. But I was prepared coming. But she ain't lying. She and Tasha will tell me many things. I procrastinate and different things, but I still gotta ask her shit. But sometimes we gotta be hard at it, do our thing.
Sometimes.
We gotta do our thing. I just gotta say, folks. I think this was a great part to the conversation. I definitely wanted to make sure we talk about this. And again, this is not designed to give answers. It's really it's designed to spread a conversation. So whether you're looking or not looking, I love the fact that we continue to talk about what healthy relationships look like, expectations, because maybe even if we're not in a relationship, it can help us avoid making some of the same mistakes and repeating. And I would like to think that as we're getting older, we're getting wiser. So if you're in a relationship, hopefully it gives you something to talk about to value each other more. And from somebody like me, I speak just for me, it crystallizes even more of what I'm looking for, because I don't want to make those same mistakes again. So that's why I have these conversations. I appreciate the comments from Carol, from Issachar, from Terrence, Charles popping in. Appreciate you, my brother. Of course, appreciate my postings. You guys give us such insight to watch you guys go through it in real time. And my sis popped in for a minute, so I don't know what happened. I'll find out. But me and McMac, as we always tell you guys, we have these conversations all the time.
Mhm.
All the time. And that's what spurs the show. I want to close out by saying we got a couple of more shows to do for the month. We say this all the time and nobody takes us up on it. If you have a topic you want to hear us discuss, please let us know. Send it to me. You can find me, for those of you connected, send it to my messenger box, or let us know. We'd love to be able to talk about what you want to hear, many times. So anyway, guess what, folks? We're now on the other side of hump day,
Mhm.
and I'm just looking at everybody. I know you're tired. We're tired. I'm tired. It's
Yes.
just been a long week so far. So thank you guys for popping in and making the show what it is. And so look, enjoy the rest of your night. I'm gonna take my shower and enjoy the rest of this game. And we'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace out. Everybody have a great night.
Right.